You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Three-star athlete Eric Perry becomes Auburn's 8th commitment of the 2026 class. Let's go. It's about time, man. We finally got a commitment to talk about. Three-star athlete out of Mississippi, Eric Perry, commits to the Auburn Tigers. And I know he's an underrated guy. That Auburn's by far the biggest offer that he has. The only SEC offer he has might even be the only D1 offer that he has. But Derek Nix, Hugh Freeze getting into their home state of Mississippi and finding a hidden gem. And I do believe that it'll be a couple of weeks and you'll see these bigger schools start to call Eric Perry and try to get him in as they look around and they watch the film again and say, what is it that Auburn saw that we're missing? And I'll tell you what they're missing. They're missing a 5'11", 195-pound athlete. The first cut, he has solid vision. I think one thing that really stood out to me on tape with Eric was his balance. He has tremendous balance. One of those guys that's able to get his hand down, keep his knee above the ground, and get 5-6 extra yards. There's one play on his junior huddle where he is completely knocked back in the backfield. His own line gets blown up. It's kind of he's running to the outside, looks like an outside counter maybe, and he just gets blown up. And he's still, as he's getting pushed back, he has the ability to get his hand down, keep his balance. He stands back up, regains his composure, and takes off down the field, trucks a couple of guys. It's really impressive. He's just a top-end speed, home run speed, the kind of speed that where if he gets a hole quick, he can hit that thing. I love it. I think it's an awesome pickup for Auburn. And I think that we know how this works. Whenever an SEC school finds one of these diamond in the roughs, they find the hidden gem type, other big schools are going to call. I wouldn't be surprised if Mississippi State comes knocking on his door, maybe Ole Miss, the likes of Kentucky and those kind of schools, because they're going to look at it. They're going to look at the film. This is going to make news. You know, Eric Perry, who's only ranked as a 3-star according to 247. He's not even ranked anywhere else yet. I think that'll change as his senior year goes on and he's now committed to an SEC school. But you definitely can expect from those bigger schools to come in. And I think by the time that he gets to early signing day next year, he'll have a lot bigger offers on the table. But lead me to my next point. When that happens, Auburn's in the driver's seat, obviously, because you already got the commitment. But Auburn is by far, let's take a look at Eric's his other offers real quick. Auburn is by far his biggest offer. Jackson State, Murray State, North Alabama, and Sacramento State. So not only is Auburn the only SEC offer, Auburn's the only Division I offer. And as this kid blows up and climbs up the rankings his senior year, Auburn can come in and say, look, buddy, if they even have to, you know, he might be one of those kids that loves Auburn and just stays committed. But Auburn's got the leverage to say, look, we were here first. We were way ahead of the game here. Like, it's not even like, you know, Troy and South Florida and Southern Miss. It's nothing like that. Not even those schools have offered. It's HBCUs and Division II schools and then Auburn. So he comes in on the visit this weekend, and you got to think that Auburn had that conversation with him. Like, hey, man, we really like you. This is a committable offer. Would you be willing to do it? And obviously, if you're Eric, there's no reason to wait. There's no reason to wait any longer. This is by far the best offer you have on the table. Go ahead and jump in the boat. So I think it's a big time pickup for Auburn. It's not going to make a lot of waves now because he's not a highly ranked kid, but you gotta like the confidence in Hugh Freeze and Derek Nix and doing the evaluation in their home state of Mississippi and saying, you know, we don't care what anybody else thinks here. We like the guy and we're going to go after him. And sometimes these rankings are just wrong. And we'll give the services the benefit of the doubt because they still have another year. And, you know, some kids just slip through the cracks. And after I watched the tape, I think that Eric Perry from DeSoto Central in Mississippi is one of those guys. Like I said, looking at the measurables, he's 5'11" to 6 foot, 195 pounds, 247, the only team that has him, only site that has him ranked. They have him as the 125th athlete in the country, the 52nd athlete in the state of Mississippi. I do want to read the quote real quick because Derek Nix was the primary recruiter here. Not a surprise when we're looking at the state of Mississippi. And when asked about Derek Nix, this is according to 247 Sports, Auburn Undercover. When asked about Derek Nix, Perry said, Nix was really the main factor. He was one to call my phone, telling me everything. He was the one to call my phone, telling me everything. Excuse me. We talked about my family and stuff. I felt the vibe that he really wanted me here. I felt like he was being truthful in everything that he was saying. So you see, Derek Nix just kind of being open, honest, and upfront with these kids. That's something that we continue to hear in his time on the plains. And he liked what he heard. Like I said, it came in this weekend. Was probably told, "Hey, buddy, if you want to make this a thing, or you can go ahead and hop on board, you're more than welcome to." And he didn't hesitate. Obviously, as we sit here on Monday at about noon, and he hops in the boat. So I love it. And real quick, we'll talk about what it means for the future of Auburn's running back room. You look at guys like Jeremiah Cobb, who will be approaching his junior year, Damari Alston, a veteran in that room. And then you look down if you have the transfer from UConn, didn't get to see him in the spring because he was banged up with everything like that. So those are your three vets. Um, and their eligibility is all kind of spread out. And then you have Omar Mapson, who really was supposed to be in this 2026 class. And obviously the big pickup in Alvin Henderson, who broke all the records in the state of Alabama. How does it all play out? You got some eligibility kind of spread out there amongst the vets. And then you have two freshmen coming in. I really think Omar redshirts. I mean, he's supposed to be a senior in high school this year. It just makes sense to me that he redshirts. Now, if he comes in and he just outperforms Alvin in fall camp or in the first couple weeks of the season in practice, then that's can always change. You obviously have the rule now where running backs can play, or no, excuse me, any player can play 4 games before they get redshirted. So it'll be it's going to be just a camp's going to be a competition this year at running back to see who rises up to be that number one guy between those three vets, and then which one of these freshmen and Alvin Henderson or Omar Mapson can kind of vie for that 4th spot, maybe bump up to that 3rd spot. We'll see how all that goes. I think one of those guys red shirts, and I think unless there's injury, if 2 or 3 of your backs get hurt, then both your freshmen are going to have to burn their red shirt too. And we know that's very high possibility that can happen in SEC football for running back. So, but I like it from the standpoint of the eligibility is kind of spread out, and you're just going to have guys in there competing. And as long as Eric stays a part of this class and he comes in next year, um, he's played quarterback, right? He's playing quarterback right now at his high school, Mississippi. You see that a lot. These guys are just all around athletes. So it's not a guy, Eric Perry won't be a guy that when he comes in, that is expected to contribute right away. He'll probably have to redshirt and get a year under his belt to learn the offense, pass protection, and all that kind of stuff he's not asked to do playing quarterback right now in Mississippi. He's got to come in, learn pass pro, learn all that. I would expect Eric Perry to probably redshirt next year. But I like the way when you start kind of looking year by year at the way it all lines out for the running back room, I like it. I like it. You got good competition. You don't have a bunch of guys stacked up that are the same class. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And we'll see how Derek Nix deploys these guys. I think with Jarquez, I think Auburn wanted to use guys like Jeremiah Cobb and Damari Alston a little bit more last year. But Jarquez Hunter is just so elite. He's one of the best running backs in the country, led the SEC in rushing and all that kind of stuff, that where you just had to use him more than the other guys. It would just kind of be silly if you were taking carries away from Jarquez Hunter and giving them to anybody else. So I think that as we move forward with Hugh Freeze and Derek Nix, I think you'll see more of a running back by committee approach. And I think that they're going to go out and get guys that have different skill sets that like you're going to see this year with Damari and Jeremiah Cobb. I think that you're going to be able to deploy both of those guys in ways that are unique to their skill set. They're not both going to be asked to do the exact same thing. And I think that when you look down at the guys that are lower in the eligibility with the Alvin Henderson, the Omar Mapsons, and now the Eric Perrys, project to when those guys are counted on, those guys at the top of the rotation, I believe that they all have different and unique skill sets that'll allow Auburn to use them all in different ways, and you're not just wearing one guy out. So I like it. Big pickup for Auburn. Again, it's going to fly under the radar right now, But I love the fact that Auburn is not scared to go out there and make some waves. And they'll be trolling online. Oh, you got a running back that's not even ranked. Hugh Freeze is down bad, blah, blah, blah. Just remember that burner troll with 19 followers doesn't know more about running back and about offense than Hugh Freeze and Derek Nix. And if there's one thing that those guys have done, especially since Hugh Freeze showed up, was nail his talent eval on players. I mean, there's always going to be a miss. You can't be perfect, but more times than not, they hit. And so I'm going to trust Derek Nix. I'm going to trust Hugh Freeze, especially in the state of Mississippi. And getting a guy like Eric Perry, I think he'll rise up the rankings next year. And he might even be a 4-star before it's all done, but he definitely won't be only ranked in one side. On3 rivals, those guys will have him, I believe, as a ranked player at least by the time the senior year is over. And like I said, maybe who knows, maybe he's able to get up there to a 4-star. So, like to pick up for Auburn, please smash that thumbs up button, sub to the channel, and if you're interested in how you can get the film breakdown, a little insight to his recruitment and all that, go ahead and sign up for the memberships today. We got all that exclusive content over there for those guys. $3.99 a month for the JV squad, $5.99 a month for the varsity squad. Everything that it entails is right there on your screen. Sign up now because I'm about to go over here and do the film breakdown for you guys. I appreciate everybody for watching. Smash the thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.